The history of the Regency of Algiers, 3 centuries of power and resistance at the turn of the 16th century. The central Maghreb, present-day Algeria, was a fragmented land, divided between local kingdoms, independent tribes, and coastal urban communities. European powers, expanding rapidly through colonial ambitions and maritime trade, turned their eyes southward toward the Mediterranean. Spain, newly empowered after the Reconquista, launched military expeditions to establish footholds along the North African coast, capturing cities like Oran, Mers, el-Kebir, and Béjaïa, and threatening to take full control of Algiers. Facing this growing external threat, local populations called for help from 2 famous corsair brothers, Aruj and Khayr Barbarossa. These corsairs, originally of Greek origin and converts to Islam, were renowned for their naval skills and bold tactics at sea. In 1516, Aruj drove the Spaniards out of Algiers and took control of the city, but was killed 2 years later during a campaign in Tlemcen. His brother, Khayr took over leadership and, realizing that local forces alone could not withstand European might, placed Algiers under the protection of the Ottoman Empire. In 1518, the city officially became an autonomous Ottoman province, marking the birth of the Regency of Algiers. Appointed as Grand Admiral of the Ottoman Navy, Khayr laid the foundations for a political entity that would be both locally governed and deeply connected to the Ottoman imperial structure. The Regency was built around a centralized military authority. Initially governed by a pasha sent by the Sultan, it gradually came under the control of a locally elected dey, chosen by the powerful Turkish military corps, known as the Janissaries. This militia played a central role in maintaining political order and defending the city. Although it remained nominally loyal to the Ottoman Sultan in Istanbul, Algiers operated largely independently in its internal affairs and foreign policy. Its strategic position on the Mediterranean turned it into a key player in regional trade, diplomacy, and most notably, naval warfare. Indeed, it was at sea that the Regency of Algiers built its greatest reputation. Its corsairs, often incorrectly labeled as mere pirates, roamed the Mediterranean, capturing European merchant ships, demanding ransoms, and raiding coastal settlements. European powers feared these expeditions, which cost them ships, fortunes, and often hostages. Thousands of captives were brought back to Algiers, either to be ransomed by their families or sold into servitude. The city became one of the world's most formidable corsair hubs. Though controversial today, maritime raiding was a widely accepted form of warfare at the time, practiced by nearly all naval powers. But the Regency was far more than just a corsair state. It was a dynamic urban center, a melting pot of cultures including Arab, Berber, Ottoman, Andalusian, and sub-Saharan African influences. The city of Algiers was home to mosques, madrasas, bustling markets, skilled artisans, diplomats, and merchants. Complex relationships were maintained with interior tribes, sometimes allies, sometimes in rebellion, as the central authorities sought to balance Ottoman traditions with local realities. From the 18th century onward, signs of decline began to emerge. European powers, especially France, Britain, and Spain, modernized their navies, secured their trade routes, and grew more aggressive in their opposition to Barbary corsairs. The Regency's economy, heavily dependent on maritime raiding, began to falter. Internally, social and tribal tensions weakened the state. In 1827, a diplomatic conflict between the Dey of Algiers and the French consul, the infamous fly whisk incident, provided France with a pretext for military intervention. On June 14, 1830, French forces landed at Sidi Frej with more than 37,000 troops. Less than a month later, Algiers surrendered. The Regency of Algiers collapsed with little resistance, bringing an end to over 300 years of sovereignty. This moment marked the beginning of French colonization in Algeria, which would last for 132 years and fundamentally reshape the country's destiny. Thus ended the story of a unique maritime state, born in resistance, shaped by the alliance between local populations and the Ottoman Empire, empowered by naval dominance, and ultimately brought down by modern imperialism. The Regency of Algiers remains today a powerful symbol of sovereignty, political complexity, and Mediterranean legacy.